Welcome to Youth TV show Make Proud Globally, produced by today's program. We are Mr. Aaron, County, Illinois.
It was amazing coming to Nepal and learning about all the struggles the country is going through, but also all of the progress. The country has come out of a civil war, has adopted democracy, become more of a secular government, and still has a long way to go. But I think what I've learned over the last 10 days is that it's important to look at the glass half full instead of half empty. There's a lot of accomplishment and also a lot of promise because of 70%, over 70% of the country being young people like yourselves who are under 30. I was involved in government since I was about 18, working on different political campaigns and getting involved in my community. And we have a saying in the U.S. that we have to think globally but act locally. And so this trip has taught me about what it means to be Nepali, what it means to be a good global citizen, and what I can take back and advocate for Nepal, and also advocate for my own community, because what's been very inspiring is the level of involvement from young people. I'm interested in hearing what you guys have to ask and ways that I can help advocate for a stronger Nepal, a better U.S.-Nepali relationship, and really get the country on the right track.
How do you become a politician?
Well, a lot of people get into politics for different reasons. Some get into it because it's a family business. But I got into politics for a local reason. When I was in college, my local library that I had grown up going to for years and years needed to expand. It was not serving the community well. It's not effective to spend tax dollars when you're not able to adequately serve your public. And that really bothered me. And in America, we call a local tax increase a referendum, where people go and vote on whether or not their taxes should be increased to do something, build a school, build a library, build more parks. It's usually centered on construction. But my library district had lost 3 referenda. And I decided that I wanted to get involved because I wanted to fix the problem, but you could see that people didn't want a tax increase, so you had to go about it working within the system, but a different way. So I decided to get on that library board, and we started saving money, which is sometimes foreign for units of government to want something and save and meet their goals within their means. And I really drove that process forward. And when I get back to America, we'll be cutting the ribbon, like I'm sure they do on nice buildings in Nepal, on the new library. So that's what got me involved. I really wanted to solve problems. And then on the county board, we are a county of about 700,000 people, maybe a little less, but we're doing our census right now, so we'll see. What I care about is being accountable to our taxpayers. We provide a lot of services. We build roads. We have clinics. We buy land to preserve and protect for natural habitats. But at the end of the day, we need to make sure that we're being responsible with the way money is being spent and the way that we're taxing people. And I know that sounds incredibly boring to the people at this table. It really is. But the problem is that if young people aren't paying attention to how the government raises and spends its money, they could spend you dramatically into debt, or they can save money and be in a surplus. And what does that do for young people? It will impact you for years to come, because you will either be paying that debt or living off the successes of them being fiscally responsible. So sometimes, most of the time, getting involved with government can be really boring, but you have to look at the big picture and also all of the details. And so that's what I really like, and that's what makes me tick when I go into work. and I love solving problems.
What do you think about the political condition of Nepal?
You have done a lot, but there is so much more to do. The most important thing is making a constitution that serves Nepalis well. And in my brief study of history and government in Nepal, the country likes writing constitutions. You've had several in the last 60 years. But the American Constitution, the beauty of the American Constitution is in its simplicity. It's a set of principles that have governed our country for over 200 years. And when you look at the things that are guaranteed to us, or the things that you might consider American rights, the right to free press, the freedom of religion, prohibiting unreasonable search and seizure or unreasonable detainment, those were not things that were enumerated in the original Constitution. They're what we call the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments to the Constitution. So in my study of Nepali government, it's a country of tremendous promise. And part of that promise is in young people who are at this table and with today's Youth Asia that want to get involved. But the constitutional process is incredibly important because we have to make sure that it is reflective of the country and that it's a constitution, as we say in America, for the people, by the people. I think that there has been a lot done, and it's important that you look at meeting the deadlines that have been set, but it's equally important to ensure that individuals have individual rights, that we are moving forward on women's rights, and that we are including young people and giving them a seat at the table. In America, we have a saying, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. So if you don't have a seat at the table, your cause might get eaten up. And so it's important for young people right here to be at the table.
What, according to you, is the toughest part of being a politician?
The toughest part to being a politician is not taking things too personally. I'm accountable to about 20,000 American citizens in Lake County, Illinois, and some might agree with what I'm doing, and some might not. Some might make some pretty mean statements about things that I've done, and some really support the work I've done. But at the end of the day, it's important not to take their comments too personally, because they care about the government, they care about what's being done, and it's more about their personal opinions and their views on how government should be run than their personal opinion of me. So I think sometimes in government, American politicians get a little worried about what people think. I have to stand for election usually every 4 years, but we have this thing called redistricting where they reapportion to make sure we all have an equal amount of people in our district. And so that would be my second thing about what's the hardest part of being a politician. You have to constantly be accountable. And if you want to stay in office and serve the people and do good, you are constantly taking their phone calls, solving their problems, sometimes putting your own life in the back seat so that you can address issues that are important to your district.